I'm Tia, and I'm with Nick and Amelia right now.
Hi, we're Sylvan Esso.
I am so excited to be talking to you guys today. I've been such a big fan since your first record.
Oh.
It is a modern classic.
Thank you.
In my opinion. You laugh, Nick, but why?
No, I appreciate it. I think it's just so weird to hear. It's anytime you make something and then like a decade later someone is talking to you about it and I think it's always weird to reassess. I think especially at this like anniversary moment because like I think both of us are kind of imagining a 10 years younger version of ourselves, you know? Which it snaps me back to that person every time this happens, which is just a wild experience.
I bet when you guys were like messing around and making that first record, you didn't necessarily think that 4 records later, this is where it would be, right?
No. No, it's so nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too because whenever I listen to Coffee or Hey Mommy, I'm like transported back to 2014 all over again, and if I can gas you guys up, I don't think that anybody has even tried to touch the sound that you guys established in that first album. It's like such a singular pocket of indie and electronic and folk and pop. But speaking of it being the 10-year anniversary, right, of that record, what do you guys think has evolved the most about your philosophy, your process, your sound, and then what has remained a constant over the last decade?
I think like our philosophy has naturally changed and grown as we have changed and grown. I think we both got a lot more radical.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's like deeply influenced the way that we think about creating music and disseminating music, and and also we're just different people in same but different.
I also just think it's being 10 years older, I think both of us are just entering a part of our lives now where like part of the goal almost every day is to like remain clinging to like the present moment in life. I think that's just easier to do. That was easier for me to do when I was much younger, and now I think the world is so insane, and it's easy to become, I think, hardened by that. And I think that goes hand in hand with the creative process. Like, I think Jeff Tweedy talks about in his book about how at a certain point the job is staying inspired. And I feel like that's kind of the job in life, too. Being lucky enough to be artists, I think we are more acutely in tune with that. Because we just have to be, like it's our literal job. But I've been really feeling that lately in a way that I did not feel it when I was younger.
I've heard you say, Nick, that listening back to old albums is kind of akin to reading back an old diary. And sometimes you're so invested in the creative process that you don't even necessarily realize what you were trying to communicate until you've had distance from the music. I'm wondering, like, looking back at your last record, No Rules Sandy, what did you guys learn about yourselves? What did listening back to that record reveal about your headspace, about where you want to be creatively, inspirationally?
Oh my gosh. I think making No Rules Sandy was we'd never made a record like that. We made it in let's see, like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, I haven't even listened back to it in.
Oh my gosh, really?
I think we put it out and I haven't really revisited it.
I listened to it recently.
You did?
Yeah.
What did you think,
Nick?
I still don't know if it's been enough time. The biggest thing I hear when I listen to it now is I hear us trying to get back to something. I think that like the arc of those first 3 to me, I really hear us kind of pushing into a thing that we thought we needed to be, maybe. Where it's more polished, it's more pop, it's more maybe like what we felt reflected back to us as the thing that other people saw the band as, maybe, which is always a weird lens, I think, to start realizing you're viewing your own work through. And I think with No Rules, I hear us trying to make each other smile and surprised in it, Wow. Like, 'cause it was literally wasn't for anybody when we made it. It was like, we were trying to stay in it during like a wave of the pandemic, and it just felt more like I can hear us just trying to like surprise the other one.
I love that because I also read that Free Love for you was kind of like the most fully realized version of what you guys had tried to achieve when you started Sylvan Esso, but No Rules Sandy was a totally new era, which, just like you mentioned, coincided with a very interesting and COVID-inspired writing process where you were inside for, 3 weeks? You wrote a new song every single day. I can't even imagine that level of output and the amount of inspiration that would require. No Rules Sandy is the last thing that you put out, and I think that makes for a really interesting kind of milestone when you're looking forward at new music, which of course you guys have been involved in a pretty intense creative and experimental process recently writing new music. Where does WDID and Keep On kind of fit into that matrix? What era of Sylvan Esso are we in? And I've heard, Amelia, you say you guys threw out the rule book for No Rules Sandy. So are the no rules of No Rules Sandy being applied to this era as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I think at this moment we're still kind of sinking into this new record, and WDID and Keep On are sort of like the beginnings of the direction that we're heading in, which is why we wanted to put them out first, because they're so exciting and they feel so frenetic and different, but they don't live in the no rules world, and they're like, they're reaching towards something else, something in the future that we're so excited about.
I'm so excited that you guys have started to drop new music, and like I said earlier, WDID captures a totally different shade of the Sylvan Esso soundscape than I feel like I've ever heard before. I keep listening to this song and thinking about how perfectly it captures the anxiety-inducing doom scroll that we're all subject to. It also captures the hopelessness that creeps in, I think, with that onslaught of information. And like, maybe this sounds too grandiose, but I really feel like it hits on the strange reality of late-stage capitalism on the individual level, you know?
Thank you. That's really what we've been thinking about a lot.
Well, you did it. I keep listening to this and I feel so seen. WDID also, I know, stands for What Do I Do? And that's the first line of the song that you've like processed and pitched down in a way that you can't like totally quite hear it, but having gotten the lyrics from your publicist. You say, what do I do when I run out of money? The algorithm only wants my body. Like, so poignant, and I kind of feel like it's the thesis of the entire track.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
Oh man. Well, what was the headspace going into this? Because as we talked about before, sometimes you guys need distance to sort of like have the objectivity to see what you guys are trying to create or communicate. This one feels extremely direct.
Yeah, it's this song, and WDID in particular is the product of like Nick and I getting in the studio every day and just like seeing what's there and trying not to put up any roadblocks into like the childlike state of mind of creation. And because of that, a lot of the music that we're making right now is like a lot more vulnerable, a lot more immediate, and I always think it's kind of a good sign if when we make something it's a little embarrassing, because it means that like we're addressing things that are happening now, or like happening in the moment, in the way that we like our actual reaction is wrapped up in it, instead of like preparing something to be delivered. It's more of like, this is this moment, this is how I'm feeling.
I think a lot about this interview I heard with Bjork, where she was talking about, I think it was that song Stone Milker, and that whole album is like very raw lyrically for her. It feels there's almost like a edge of cringe, like diary entry kind of vibe to that whole record for her, which is very, I would say, out of character for her. But she was, in this interview, she was talking about how she had a much cleverer version of the lyrics for the song, but that every time she sang them, it felt too composed for the feeling of it. That like the feeling itself was raw and immature and like vulnerable. And because of that, she couldn't rewrite the words. It had to be this thing. And I kind of feel like a lot of that is what I feel like is happening with even the musical side of what we're doing. But like a lot of the music we're making now, I think we're really trying to keep that initial vulnerability, because I think that's just a way we're both really feeling right now. I think that the world is so heavy just to experience on a day-to-day basis that like there's this like touchy, raw edge to everything that I'm feeling, and I that has to be a part of the work, because if it isn't, it's not going to feel like a
honest.
a moment. Yeah, I think everything we do, we want it to feel like a portrait of that moment for us in time, and I think this is a hallmark of that I'm noticing.
Absolutely, which is also why I wanted to, like, the embarrassment of including the lyric "algorithm only wants my body," because, like, anytime we do post anything, if we put my female body on the lead of the post, it means so many more people see it, which is insane. It's literally like a trade.
So that was like, I thought that line was like an extrapolation of like what you're experiencing with like skincare products and things, but you literally mean like, when you post.
Yeah, when you
as Sylvan
when you
Esso.
post, if you put my body on it, more
The
people
female
will
body
see
is
it.
commodifiable.
Yeah, exactly.
It's both, yeah.
And it also
Layered,
applies.
like-
Yeah, it also applies to that, and the fact that like we're literally attached to the alg. We're like it is. It's taking our body. It's taking our time. It's like, yeah, it's exhausting.
That's that. Even just that inherent sense of self that wraps up within us, surrounding the whole thing. It's just, I feel like, I don't know. It's a layered experience. I don't know.
For sure, and it's also one that we can't get away from either, because there's like no real alternative. It feels like that's the only type of culture that we're like given the option to participate in, you know? And that's kind of why I think Keep On is such an interesting companion piece to WDID. Like, obviously you guys do this a lot in your records. You kind of have like an emotional counterweight to each song. And Keep On, the title alone is so fascinating to me, because I couldn't decide whether it was like a message of resignation or of resolve.
Yeah.
And listening to it, I was like, that duality was totally intentional. They got me. But that's so brilliant, because I feel like whatever energy you bring to the song, it feeds that energy back to you. And it really does, again, capture how we oscillate between moments of being like, fuck this, I'm going to get over this, and we're going to keep moving forward as a society, as a culture. And then other moments where you're just like staring into the void, usually because of the algorithm, and feeling absolutely hopeless.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
It's both. Yeah.
Yes.
It is both.
It's both. It's both. Okay.
It has to be. I mean, you can't. I think that one of the things I love about that part that you wrote is just that, like, the duality of it. I think acknowledging the pain of that is both anger-inducing and comforting. Like the externalization of that, I think is. It's, to me, it's just very cathartic and comforting.
With algorithms, you know, and especially when it comes to music discovery and like the distribution of music as well, I feel like they really promised us variety and diversity. And, you know, instead it's like flatlined culture. I think it's like flattened taste altogether. You guys have pulled your music from Spotify, and that WDID and Keep On have been released on Psychic Hotline, your own label. I'm so excited about that venture. I'm so curious about it too. Like, where did Psychic Hotline come from, and what is your vision for curation and the roster?
Well, Psychic Hotline at first came to pass because we were starting to get the full rights to we got the rights to our full record back. But then we realized that it was a great way to both put out like music that we love and our friends' music. And that naturally, like as we started doing that, more and more people kept on coming out of the woodwork saying like, I have a project, I have a single, like I would like to put it out with y'all. And it's just become such a wonderful expression of the music that can be heard, and like in our community, and like by extension, like the people who we're just fans of.
Yeah, I think a lot of art is I mean, for us, I think a big part of what we try to accomplish with like our lives, I think within art is a lot of it feels like, you know, utopia building a little bit. Like what could something be? And I think the label was a lot like that, where it was like, well, what if we designed a thing that did all the things we wish all labels would do? Can that actually work in capitalism? Like, can it actually get off the ground? And then the answer is a little bit. But I think for us, it's like it's not just us. It's us and our partners, Martin Anderson and Chris Chen, who are both dear friends and excellent. They both have just unbelievable taste. But it's this nice. We kind of shared this vision of it, and I think through the four of us, it's always just the four of us. We get together once a year and play each other all of the records that we're excited about, and that shapes like the calendar for the following 18 months. It's just like, and through that we've met so many amazing people. Like a huge chunk of our releases now come from South America, like, and specifically Sao Paulo, because we've been tapped into this whole music community down there, and like it's just kind of like brought into the umbrella of like our lives in a way that I think that's the thing I'm most grateful for about it, is that it feels like the tent just got bigger,
Indeed, and it's also like kind of created this philosophy within us, like after like seeing the success of Psychic Hotline and how much it makes us feel actually involved and a part of this like scene or vibe that we saw that we wanted and then we're able to create. Like that led to our decision to pull ourselves off of Spotify, because it's creating a path for the future that we want to see. Or like, totally. Yeah, it's not a good decision, but it feels right in our hearts and our brains and our bodies. So, and we can. So why not try?
What streaming at least has done for me as a consumer, and I think what I see it doing for so many other people, is it's turning the experience of listening to music. It turns art into a product. And I love that you guys have like removed the parasocial aspect of experiencing, discovering, and sharing music by just getting together in a room with your partners and sharing music, like the way God intended. Like that is, I'm like having a vinyl hang on Sunday, and I'm like, physical media, guys. Let's just sit around and drink mezcal and just talk about music that we love, because
it's the best way to do it.
Totally. And I feel like, honestly, I work in music, I have for a long time. So infrequently do we all just sit around and talk about what we fuck with,
That's one thing we've found, I think, doing it, is because we will have these, like, not to get too inside baseball here, but we will have, like, listening parties for, like, industry people where we'll try to do the same thing. We'll be like, we're all going to meet at this place. We're going to talk about all this stuff we're excited about. We're going to play it for you. We're going to all talk about it together.
Right.
And, like, the number of people who come up to us after those and are like, nobody ever does this. And I'm always just like, we all work in music. What do you mean nobody ever does this? It's nice to get back to, and I think that, like, again, just fostering that spirit of community. Even if nothing ever happens from it, it's like the people I've met through that has been so great. And, like, I feel like I learn new things about, like, the stuff like Martin's excited about, or Amelia's excited about, or Chris, and it's just like hearing people talk passionately about things that they like. I mean, I could do that all day.
Is there anything hotter?
I think sometimes we forget that's the whole point. Like, we're all just in it to celebrate music and art that we love, and like uplift artists that we think are super sick. As we divest from DSPs, I'm seeing more labels, artist collectives, even management companies across the industry bringing power back into their own hands and building an infrastructure that exists outside of the one that we've been sold, essentially. It sounds like, as artists who own a label, you guys are feeling that, but tell me more about that vision, or maybe I should say hope, for a more artist-centric and artist-empowered music industry.
Here's the thing. We're reaching towards the future. Like, I don't know what it's going to be. Like, I don't think it's necessarily sustainable to say, like, what I want is for every musician to be able to directly hand their fans their music. But that's what I would like to do. There's nothing, like, that's why mutual aid feels so much better than donating to, like, a giant corporation. It's because, like, you have a thing that you made, you give it as a gift, and it is received that way. As opposed to just saying, like, well, here it is for everyone. You guys figure out what to do with it. That's my personal dream.
Yeah, I think it's just that. I think we don't have an issue with the idea of streaming.
No, we love it.
I love it. It's great. But it's also like, it's a different experience than buying a record. It's a different experience than sitting down at a friend's house and listening to music together. It's a different experience than going to a show. All these things are different ways into this, hopefully the same door, I think the bigger issue is that gathering of independence that you're talking about. I think the bigger thing is just the removing of the default corporations that exist as a between people like us and the people who like the things that we make. Like that, I think, is the bigger thing.
Yeah, they
know,
pretend to be curators, but they're actually like taxmen.
Well, it's just, they just don't need to be there. And like, I think that like we all for a long time have just accepted that these are things that we have to do. And even for us to be able to pull our music off of this is a position of privilege. I mean, when we're doing this, to be honest, my goal is not, although I would love this, my goal is not to get the next bigger artist to pull their stuff off of Spotify. My goal is to get the average person to be like, oh, Sylvan Esso is not on Spotify anymore. Why? And then find out why, and then maybe switch to a different streamer. Maybe they move to Tidal. Maybe they move to Qobuz. Maybe they move to something else. But like that, to me, they are the monopoly because the most people pay them for the service. You know what I mean? And to me, breaking that reliance is an interesting thing to do. And I think gets us closer to the goal of having a more interdependent community.
Exactly. And encourages questioning what we're doing, questioning where we put our money. Like when you put your money towards something, you are supporting it. You're saying like, I believe in this. And with hopefully with us deciding to not have our product on Spotify anymore, to not have our music or art or livelihood or life's work, it makes people think about their participation.
Injecting consciousness into the default settings again.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Totally.
And also, like, do whatever you're gonna do. It's cool. I get it. You know, I don't know. But we were talking about this the other day. It's like when you get stopped in traffic because a protest blocked the highway, that is an interrupting act of public day-to-day life. And it is to do so to make you think about why something that is happening that is not right. And this is just another targeted action, you know? We're just trying to do what we can to move the needle towards the type of world we want to live in.
Exactly.
Nick and Amelia for president, guys. I do want to ask you one last question related to Psychic Hotline, related to the acts that you guys are really excited about, also related to just Durham and North Carolina. I'm always so interested to hear what artists are listening to, what's cooking in your backyards. Like, tell me about the Durham scene. Tell me about Sao Paulo as well. And what are you guys really excited to listen to right now?
Oh man. I mean, for North Carolina artists, I'm really loving the new Wednesday record. It's so freaking good. I'm also really into the new Sir Chloe record. I just love it so much. Yeah, how about you, Sandy?
Yeah, Wednesday records really, that's not going to leave.
The rotation?
No, that's very, very stuck there for the time being. I mean, what an album. Yeah, what are we listening to?
We've been in the studio just prepping our own stuff. I mean, honestly, I've been listening to a lot of Underworld.
Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of Born Slippy really loud in my car.
A classic, I mean.
Yeah, just the dream of techno, like.
There's never a situation that Born Slippy doesn't enhance.
Exactly,
tenfold,
yeah.
in my opinion.
100%.
Similar note, Autiker is coming to the States for the first time in like 10 years, and we're going to see them twice. So, been really going through those recent reissues. That Chorus reissue just came out. Highly recommend if you haven't dipped in. It sounds even better today than it did then.
So exciting.
Beautiful. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for making amazing music for the last 10, 11 years at this point. I'm very excited for the next decade.
Thank you.